at Nickelodeon, a legacy of laughter and shadows. For generations, Nickelodeon has been a beacon of joy, a source of endless entertainment for children and families alike. It has provided a colourful escape into a world of slime, laughter and wacky adventures where the imagination knows no bounds. From the iconic orange splat to the unforgettable theme songs that have become anthems of childhood, the network holds a special place in the hearts of countless viewers who grew up glued to shows like All That, Kenan and Kel, and SpongeBob SquarePants. These shows were more than just entertainment. They were a part of our daily lives, shaping our humour and our friendships. These programs not only entertained, but often provided comfort, companionship, and a sense of shared experience. They were the backdrop to sleepovers, family gatherings, and countless moments of joy and laughter. But behind the curtain of this light-hearted facade, a darker narrative has been unfolding, one that many were unaware of for years. This narrative casts a long shadow over Nickelodeon's legacy, revealing a side of the network that starkly contrasts with its public image. Whispers of troubling incidents and alleged misconduct have circulated for years, often dismissed or ignored. These whispers hint at a stark contrast between the sunny image projected on screen and the harsh realities faced by some young performers behind the scenes. The pressure, the exploitation, and the lack of proper oversight created an environment ripe for misconduct. These whispers, once confined to hushed tones and online forums, have recently gained momentum, fueled by the rise of the #MeToo movement and a growing demand for accountability within the entertainment industry. The movement has empowered many to come forward with their stories, shedding light on the dark corners of the industry. The release of the documentary Quiet on Set: The Dark Side of Kids TV marked a turning point, bringing these unsettling allegations into the harsh glare of the spotlight. The documentary provided a platform for voices that had long been silenced, revealing the systemic issues within the industry. The documentary's release was a watershed moment, forcing the industry and the public to confront the uncomfortable truths about what had been happening behind the scenes. Bringing these unsettling allegations into the harsh glare of the spotlight, this expose, featuring harrowing accounts from former child stars, lifted the veil on a culture of alleged abuse, harassment and exploitation that had long festered within the walls of Nickelodeon studios. This expose, featuring harrowing accounts from former child stars, lifted the veil on a culture of alleged abuse, harassment and exploitation that had long festered within the walls of Nickelodeon studios. The stories shared were heartbreaking, painting a picture of a toxic environment that prioritized profit over the well-being of its young stars. As the allegations mounted, a disturbing pattern emerged, one that could no longer be ignored. The network's response, or lack thereof, only added fuel to the fire, leading to increased scrutiny and calls for justice, casting a dark cloud over the network's brightly coloured world. The revelations have left many questioning the integrity of a network that was once synonymous with childhood innocence and joy. The question now arises: how could a network synonymous with childhood innocence be entangled in such disturbing accusations? The contrast between the network's public image and the alleged behind-the-scenes reality is stark and troubling. And what impact will these revelations have on the countless lives touched by the magic of Nickelodeon, both on and off the screen? The legacy of laughter and joy is now intertwined with shadows of doubt and concern, leaving a complex and bittersweet memory for many. Whispers from the Set, Unveiling the Dark Side. This documentary delves deep into the hidden corners of the entertainment world, shedding light on the shadows that lurk behind the glitz and glamour. Quiet on Set sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, featuring interviews with former Nickelodeon child actors who bravely shared their experiences. These young stars, once adored by millions, now reveal the darker side of their fame. These first-hand accounts painted a disturbing picture of the alleged environment at the network, where the pressures of stardom were compounded by troubling behind-the-scenes dynamics, one marked by power imbalances, inappropriate behavior, and a lack of oversight that left young actors vulnerable. and a culture of silence that allowed misconduct to thrive. The documentary exposes how these issues were often swept under the rug, creating an environment where young performers felt isolated and powerless. The documentary highlighted instances of alleged verbal abuse, sexual harassment, and emotional manipulation, painting a grim picture of the industry and the exploitation of young performers, raising serious questions about the well-being and safety of children working within the industry. These revelations have sparked a broader conversation about the need for reform and better protections for child actors. One of the most prominent voices to emerge from this documentary was that of Nikolas, a former star of the hit show Zoe 101. Her candid testimony has brought renewed attention to the issue, inspiring others to come forward and share their stories.
I remember feeling so uncomfortable on set. There were moments when I just wanted to run away. The environment was toxic, and it felt like no one was looking out for us, the kids.
These allegations are completely false. I've always treated my colleagues with the utmost respect and professionalism. Any claims to the contrary are simply not true.
The stories shared by Nikolas and other former child stars have painted a grim picture of what life was like behind the scenes at Nickelodeon. These accounts reveal a world far removed from the fun and laughter seen on screen, exposing a darker reality. The allegations against Schneider are just one piece of a much larger puzzle. This puzzle includes numerous other incidents and behaviors that have been swept under the rug for years.
I think many of us were afraid to speak up. The fear of retaliation or being blacklisted was very real. There was this unspoken rule that you just didn't talk about what was happening. Silence was the norm, and breaking it could mean the end of your career. You didn't want to jeopardize your career or be labeled as difficult. The pressure to conform and stay silent was immense.
This culture of fear and silence has raised serious questions about the practices within the entertainment industry. It has led many to wonder how such a toxic environment could persist for so long. How many more stories remain untold? The silence of the past has left many questions unanswered. And what can be done to protect the next generation of young performers? Ensuring their safety and well-being should be a top priority for the industry moving forward. You know, when we think about childhood, we often imagine a time of innocence and wonder. But for many child stars, this period is overshadowed by adult expectations. The pressure to perform, to meet the demands of the industry can be overwhelming. It's a stark contrast to the carefree days most kids experience. And unfortunately, this can lead to long-lasting impacts on their mental health and well-being. For many former child stars, coping with the trauma of their experiences is a lifelong journey. The scars left by exploitation and abuse don't easily fade away. Seeking justice becomes a crucial part of their healing process.
It's not just about getting closure for ourselves. It's about making sure that no other child has to go through what we did. We want to create a safer environment for future generations.
Their bravery in coming forward, sharing their stories, and fighting for justice is truly commendable. It's a difficult path, but one that can lead to real change in the industry.
The movement that began in Hollywood is now sweeping through children's television. The Time's Up initiative is demanding accountability and change.
Yeah, it's about time. The industry can no longer ignore the voices of those who were wronged.
With more survivors coming forward, the pressure is mounting on networks and showrunners to address these allegations seriously.
And honestly, it's not just about the past. It's about creating a safer environment for future generations of child actors. So, what happens next? Well, it's clear that systemic change is needed. Policies must be put in place to protect young talent from exploitation and abuse. Industry leaders need to step up and take responsibility. It's not just enough to acknowledge the problem, they must actively work towards a solution. And let's not forget, we as viewers also hold power. By supporting ethical productions, we can help drive the change that's so desperately needed.
I never thought anyone would listen to my story, but now it's like the floodgates have opened and people are finally paying attention.
Survivors are finding their voices, and it's crucial that we amplify them. These stories are not just about the past, they are calls to action for the future.
Sharing my experience was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But knowing that it might help someone else makes it worth it.
Absolutely. By giving survivors a platform, we can begin to dismantle the toxic systems that allowed this abuse to happen in the first place. Despite all the darkness, there's still a lot of magic in children's television, but it's up to us to reclaim it. We need to create an environment where creativity can flourish without fear, where young actors can pursue their dreams safely. The goal is to bring back the joy and wonder that children's TV is meant to inspire, but with a stronger foundation of respect and protection for everyone involved. Together, we can make sure that the magic of children's television is something that uplifts and empowers rather than harms.